seconds.
Yeah, you should be live. It should
Should be
show.
live. Hopefully we're live. Hello, welcome back to Stackhouse Live. Thank you so much for tuning in to this evening's stream. Hope you're having an awesome evening. And yeah, sit tight. We're going to be doing a hot cut punch today. I'm going to be using an old drift that I made a while ago. So I've got a piece of steel that I'm going to be working. That's the piece of steel there. And essentially I'm going to splay the metal out to make a hot cut punch tool. Quite similar to a hot cut hardy, but more of a hand, sort of tall hand version where you can be striking the back face and forming a cut. And it's quite a useful tool. So I'm going to get this guy into the fire and talk about what I'm doing in Lena. Okay, so I got myself some plasticine that I'm going to squish up. This stuff's really great for working the, it's really great for articulating and learning how to forge things before you even do it. So I use this stuff a lot during the classes that I teach for the knife making, for the blacksmithing, which will be after this stream this evening, and for the Damascus steel class. Really, really good stuff. I suggest you pick yourself up some and start working it. So it's really cold at the moment, so I'm just trying to warm it up with my hands, get it nice and warm, and hopefully try making that shape that's in the forge at the moment. Really cold. So I hope you're all having a nice evening. If you've tuned in, I'd love to hear from you, and yeah, it's going to be an awesome night, really awesome. Okay, getting there. Stuff actually takes a while to form. Okay, that's roughly the shape. So on the drift tool, I've actually got a bit of a natural taper, and it's slightly squared at one end, which I'll put in place. See that there. So my plan is to start forging the thick end of the steel and drawing that out to a nice short wedge-shaped taper. Once I've got that taper, I'm going to start forging the edges to almost create that chisel point. So ideally I'm going to be just pushing the material out like that to get my nice taper. Not quite as rough as that, but that's fine. And once we have that taper, then I can start to refine that further up the blade. So I've got a nice even taper all the way down. And then it'll round itself off, but that's fine. I'm going to hot cut that later, and then I want to start squaring the ends as well. Once I've got these ends squared off, it'll kind of dovetail out, and that's good because having a combination of a nice tapered area here and a nice dovetail means that you've got lots of length and lots of control. So the striking point is centered, so that it doesn't go around too much when you're hot cutting tools, and when you're punching multiple shapes, it's easy to keep that control. So having that domed and a bit more crowned will be quite good for that. So it'll probably be a bit longer than this one. I want mine to be a little bit longer. But yeah, the steel's in the forge at the moment, and if you just joined the stream, thanks so much for tuning in. So I'm going to be making a hot cut punch. Around about that size, a little bit longer, but this sort of flat, even dovetail shape. That's the working part of the tool. That's the part that's going to be on the anvil as I'm striking, and it's going to give me a really nice cut. It's quite similar to a mounted hot cut hardy tool. So this sits stationary inside the anvil, whereas this one will be more of a hand tool, so I can come in at angles rather than just being restricted to it sitting this way. I'll be able to use my my chisel once I've finished it and start chiseling and shaping that guy into place. I will be heat treating this guy later on tonight as well, giving it a very, very crude heat treatment with oil, and I'll be using the residual temperature in the back of the handle to do a draw temper along the blade. So I'll have the chisel point relatively hard and tough, and then the rest of the taper will have a bit more of a sprung, softer quality. So we really don't want the striking part of our tool to be too hard. We want it to be relatively soft, and then the working part of our tool to be very hard, so that when we're working. And again, it depends on the tool. This will probably be quite a blunt, hot chisel as well. It just depends on the chisel. Some of them you may want to be hotter, and then other ones you may want to have a little bit more softness and a bit more give. Maybe you're hammering a lot of hot steel. Yeah, so we'll just see how that goes, but we'll get into it. Let's put that there for now. Whoops. Yeah. Okay, is it good?
Your camera's not very happy.
Okay.
Your camera's not very happy. It's doing it. It just keeps refocusing.
Oh, okay.
Oh well.
Oh, well, that's streaming. Okay, go. Might want to get some earmuffs too. Okay. I'm going to put my safety gear on real quick. And Lena will be as well. Because that's important. I'm going to be using a medium hammer, medium weight, so that I can get quite a few hard and fast hits in. If I'm using a light hammer, I'm not going to be able to move the stock anytime soon. If I use a very heavy hammer, it's going to take me a lot of energy to start forging this guy. So a medium hammer is best, and then I'll probably either switch to a heavier hammer or a lighter hammer, depending on what job needs to be done. Go. So just in the one heat, you can see that I've managed to move the steel quite quickly. I've still got a little bit more work to do. I want to travel this flat plane a lot further up the tool, and I also want to square off the section as well, also widen it a little bit more. But yeah, it's looking good, nice and hot. If you just joined this stream, thank you so much for watching. Tonight I'm going to be making a hot cut punch tool, depending on what it is, but it's just a hot cut tool that you use as sort of like a punch or a hot cut just to cut into hot steel. Generally designed for making marks into things or just trimming material off if you have to. It's an alternative tool to using a hot cut hardy, similar to one of these guys here, pretty much the same. It's just this one's stationary and it doesn't move, it just slots inside the anvil. You put the hot steel on and it starts grinding that surface. Yeah, not much difference. And yeah, so I hope you're all having a nice night. If you're enjoying the stream, if you wanted to put any comments out there, say so now. That'd be cool. Nice to hear from you. And yeah, the steel's just in the furnace now. We're going to take another heat, hopefully refine the shape a little bit more and get a little bit more length out of the tool. I'm wanting it to be around this long, just so that I've got lots of space for my hand and also a lot of room so that my hand doesn't get too hot from the radiant heat of whatever I'm going to be hot cutting in the future. So that's pretty much the plan. And the steel I'm using is actually a BMW car spring, and it's actually made from an old drift that I made. I'll give you another one really quickly. So these are some really old drifts that I made for a hammer making class a while back, but they're kind of bent and they need a bit of tidy up. But I made about 8 of these. I'm actually going to be using the really bad ones for making some chisel tools, and fortunately for me, half the work is done on the back of the tool, so that's going to be where I'm going to be holding it. We can get a pair of tongs to hold it as well. Something probably like that. If you're doing multiple heats and the tool got too hot, you can go and hot punch in a straight line, or if you were doing some curves, the option for a pair of tongs will be quite good. So yeah, so what I've done so far is I've hammered this fat end of the steel nice and round and hammered it on a taper, and I've only gone one direction, quite a short steep taper, so that my hot punch tool doesn't get too warm, and I don't want it to be a very sharp chisel. I want it to be quite broad so that it can take a lot of beating as it's doing the work. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. I'll probably go in for another heat very soon. And yeah, hope you enjoy the stream. Cheers. I'm starting to get a bit more definition along the taper, but still rather broad. I will leave a little bit more material so that I can file it or grind the material back. I'll probably do that after heat treatment, not before. It's a little bit wonky. I'll probably take it in for a half heat just to tidy things up and manage the scale. You can see that when I was, just before I pulled the steel out, sorry, just after I was brushing the scale off with one of these. This helps let you manage the amount of oxide that's being formed on the steel. You don't want too much oxide because the surface of the metal is going to kind of look a little bit rough and a bit coarse, and you also don't want to let that build up too much, because every time you strike that scaly steel, you're going to get it flake off. They can hit you in the eye, hit you in the arm, and it feels like a very hot oil burn, and and they can stick to your skin as well, so they're quite dangerous. Also really important to bear in mind with that. But yeah, just a little bit more definition on that guy. So yeah, you can also see the facets and bevels a lot more as well, because the steel has cooled down. It's not emitting its own light anymore. When it's really bright, the camera will struggle to see what it looks like. It'll just look like a big glowing rod. So it's nice to see it now. You can see it's got a little bit more definition, and yeah, just looks better. If you just joined the stream, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I'm making a hot cut chisel or hot cut punch for cutting into steel. It's quite a useful blacksmithing tool, not necessarily blacksmithing, but great for knife making as well, depending on how you work. But they're really versatile. You can do some really cool shapes. So I'm just doing a flat, tapered cross section, but some hot cut tools have a curve to them. Some of them have like a little V angle, which are really good for doing chef's knives. You can cut into the heel of the shape of the knife quite nicely if you do it that way. You don't have to worry about using cutting discs and grinders to get to the shape you want. What else is really good about them? They're just quite useful and universal tools. You can make them in a variety of wideness, so that you can have quite a wide set apex for more of a blunt object. So if you're doing a lot of hard sort of almost like fullering, if you think about you're putting a nice little groove into something, you can use a very broad tool for that, which still is like a hot cut tool in a way. Or you can go the opposite way of things, and you can have a much sharper and more acute style hot cut tool, which will be better for doing much more dainty objects and cutting things very quickly without mucking around on the anvil for too long. So you can make quite a diverse range of this style of tool, and every tool that you end up making is quite unique. So you'll make one and go, I quite like that one, but maybe I want something a bit more beefy. Maybe I want the steel to be a bit more round, and then you can have something that's a bit more square. Also, the diameter of the steel can be a factor you want to play into it. But it's just, honestly, it's unlimited the amount of types of tools that you can make just in this particular technique. So I'm going to go and hammer that guy again, and you can see me forging a bit more, which would be cool. Wire brush over here. Anyone said bye yet? Yeah? nice and clean, making it look nice and tidy. I'm going to show the screen now. So, oops, just move that over. Yeah, a bit more definition. The tool's getting a little bit more pronounced, a bit wider. Again, still a little bit wonky. That's totally fine, I can sort that out. Maybe one more heat should do it. I'll do a little bit more work on the back as well. But it's looking good. So yeah, it's looking good. I'm going to come back and get some water really quickly, so Lena will manage the stream for me, I'm sure. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. There we go. Yeah, I'm just trying to fix that now.
Want me to go stand over the
Just going to move it around for a second. So, oh, okay, I just had to hold it. Just going to put that back on the magnet. There we go. Cool. Alright, so we get some water real quick and I'll come back. Trying to get these streams out pretty much every Wednesday evening. For New Zealanders, it'll be for 5 o'clock. I guess it's daylight savings now, yeah, so it might be about 3 o'clock for Australia, and then depending on where you are in the world, it'll be a different time. So, yeah. I was like, hang on, it'll be another time. Yeah, so I'm going to get a bit more definition in the tool, and hopefully start to refine it just a little bit more. And then once I've got to that stage, I'll probably hot cut to give myself a nice flat face, and then get onto the heat treatment. But we'll see how long and how many heats it'll take me to get it done. time?
It's 5:30 now.
Oh, cool. Sweet. Okay, so a little bit more definition. It's got borax on it. That's not what I want. Right. A little bit more definition. I've started to square the ends off. Just starting to work on these faces now. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's got a little bit of a bend in it. It's going to the left on me at the moment, or to your right. I want to sort that out. So I've got to take a center heat on the length of steel, try and resolve that. And then I'm going to hot cut the rest of the end of the steel and get onto heat treating. If you just joined the stream, thank you so much for watching. So tonight I'm going to be about halfway through, and I do these streams just before my blacksmithing classes. So essentially stream, and in the class, every time I do a stream I make a decision on what I'm wanting to make for that stream. Quite a simple tool, something really simple. Last week it was a spatula, this week it's a hot cut tool, and next week I haven't made my mind up quite yet, but I will soon. And yeah, so the streams are just really quick, kind of in the evening, just as you're chilling out, you can watch a bit of steel being forged and get a little bit of an idea of what we're doing before a blacksmithing class. So the guys will be making a round tool tonight. Do I have one? I'll get one. Depending on how they go time-wise, they're going to make a round punch tool, so they're going to have it hexagonal like so, and very thick as well, and this is really good for hole punching steel. And once you've hole punched the steel, it's you've got a hole in something. It's really it's quite a simple tool. They're not overly hard to make. They kind of look like a bullet, and once you've got that shape down, yeah, they're quite a simple tool, but they're really versatile. They're almost key to making any type of tongs, because this guy is designed for making the hole or the pivot point of the pair of tongs. So quite important, and making sure you get that hole lined up perfectly is also really important. So that's what they're going to be doing tonight. If you're already watching the stream and you're attending this evening's class, you get an idea of what's happening. And if we have a bit more time, we might make a hot cut punch as well. And I just had a thought that I will use my touch mark on this tool to stamp it with my maker's mark. So I'll probably do that in the next couple of heats as well. So that's my maker's mark there with a little lightning bolt S. Hopefully you can see that on the angle. So I'm going to stamp this guy with this tool, get my maker's mark done and on the tool. Hopefully, might not be this heat, might be the next heat. But I'll do it really soon, but I'll keep this guy handy. me trying to make an attempt of punching it, but I kind of mucked it up, so I'm going to take another heat and do it again. I hope you're enjoying the stream. If you've tuned in or if you've been watching since the start, thanks so much, and hope you're enjoying it. Let me know. Curious to get a bit of feedback on these streams if you've been tuning in for the last couple, and yeah, we want to make improvements where they can be made, and yeah, bring on the criticisms, see how it goes. Okay. There we go, that's much better. There's my maker stamp there, you can see it quite clearly. I've just given it a bit of a brush. Yeah, it's looking pretty tidy. A lot more centered now. I'm going to come through and hot cut the end of the tool, and then I'm going to heat treat it. So I'm going to be dunking this guy in some oil to harden it, and I'm going to let the rest of the temperature of the back of the tool travel along the steel. I'll have a rasp handy so I can see this colour, and try to show you this colour on the camera, depending on how the quality goes. Okay, so that's the slightly more refined tool. I might just grind this back after heat treatment, so I'm going to put this guy in now and do a quench to harden this section of the steel, and then let the residual temperature travel along the blade or along the tool and give it a bit of a heat treatment. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, then pause for a second.
Yeah.
That's fine. Sweet as. Just got a bit of oil back, so that's cool. Okay, so I've got my oil. It's just cooking oil. I use it for all my tools. I don't need a very flash heat treatment for these guys. Okay. I just need a rasp now. Okay, the steel's a bit hot, so I'm just going to quickly turn the forge right down. And then just let it air cool for a bit. So that's a bit too hot. Nearly there. Might quickly rasp some of this now. Okay, that's ready to go. So, into the oil. Must be a bit of water in there. Oh, that's a bit hot. Just thought I'd check. Okay. Righty-ho. So this probably will be impossible to see on the camera, but I'm rasping the steel to clean it so I can see the bare sort of silvery metal. Once I can see that metal, I'm going to look for a blue colour. As soon as I see that blue colour, it's going to travel along the end of the tool. It's a bit of scale. And once it's at that blue temperature, I'll put it back in the oil and let it cool. The back of the tool's still nice and hot, nice cherry red. I want that to cool naturally so that I've got a bit of just a bit of shock absorbance in the tool. We don't want the whole shaft of the tool to be rock hard because it won't work very well. Yeah, so we're getting there slowly. Put it back in the forge a little bit. See if I can clean this back a bit more. Cool, so it's getting there. See that straw yellow colour? I hope so. It's kind of hard to see. So I might put it back in the forge just to get a bit more temperature into it. Okay, it's just gone blue now. Cool, so I can put that back in the oil. Okay. Just while I wait for that grind to cool down so I can touch it, I don't want to be putting it in water now. That can cause the steel to fatigue and crack, just because it's too much thermal shock on the metal. So just put it in the leg vise, vertical, standing up, so that it can cool on its own. And once I've got it to that cooling stage where I can touch it, I'm going to lightly grind the tool and give it a quick wire brush and grind to give that little V part of the chisel, and then we'll be done. So yeah, quite a simple tool, but they are essential, and would highly recommend, if you do get into blacksmithing and knife making, make one, and make a bunch of other types of them. So you can have sharp ones, broad ones, thin ones, fat ones, you know, any of them. They'll all work really well. So hopefully this guy cools soon. Gonna move this oil off the forge because it's very hot and dangerous. Grab my rods. Okay. Hot oil and awesome. Still pretty hot. Turn the guy right down. Love my new forge. Okay, yeah, so I was using a rasp to rasp the steel, so it's quite good. Alternatively, you can just use an old angle grinding disc, something that's going to be harder than the steel to scratch the surface, so that when you're trying to look for those bluing colors, I call them bluing, but they're just the heat treat colors. They range from around a very dark blue color, sorry, a light blue to a dark blue to a purple, then a sort of dark brown color, yellow, and then a straw yellow. So they kind of vary, but each color sort of represents nearly about 50 degrees difference in that temperature. So you do want to freeze it on that particular temperature. So that's quite important. But not as important as heat treating a knife, for example. You need it to be incredibly accurate, whereas a punch tool like that, it's probably going to get overheated while it's being worked, and it's also going to be probably reheat treated throughout its lifetime, and or changed and modified depending on what happens to it. I might put some water now. Still pretty hot. Okay. Alright. So, yeah, I'll just probably leave the stream on for a sec. I'm going to grind this flat and then grind a bevel or chisel onto it, and then grind the back of the tool a little bit. But that's the punch, and you can see my maker's mark. It looks quite nice. Yeah, so bear with me, I'll be done very soon, and you can see the end of the product, but I can't really change the angle of the workshop camera for the stream too much. It's a little bit tricky to do that. So yeah, that's the hole punch, that's the hot cut punch. Yeah, so I'm going to grind it now, but I'll be back really soon.